think everyone is, even if they say they aren't, they are. Because it's weird. It's kind of inherent in a kid. Like Marvel is this fantastical fantasy. It tickles all the little parts of our brain as a kid, like Spider-Man, being able to fly around buildings. I mean, who doesn't love that? I think it was 2016 or 2017. I did my first 3 drawings for Primitive, and I love those boards, especially the Paul Rodriguez one, which was the samurai guy with the samurai mask and helmet. That board's done pretty well, I think. Yeah, and it was great to see that, him skating on it especially, and then other kids sort of showing me, like tagging me, and I think I did another 3 drawings a year later. And then the Marvel series, which is the third set I've done for them. So yeah, it's been like 3 or 4 years now. And they just lead me to my process, and I appreciate that. It's useful for me. It's helpful for me to get the best out of what I'm doing. That's where most artists thrive, when you're allowed to investigate your own creativity and your own thoughts. Toronto's a big city, but it has a small city vibe to it. I'm not from Toronto, obviously. I'm from a little town in the south of England called Burgess Hill. My past kind of involves being in music a lot, and I ended up sort of travelling with that. And I just ended up sort of liking it here. I gravitated towards it. Made a lot of friends here, and relationships and all that kind of stuff, and ended up making the move for a change of scenery, and yeah, haven't looked back really. Yeah, my early inspirations, one artist I always come back to is MC Escher, mainly because his art was so detailed, and he played around with sort of like optical illusions and complex shapes, and I couldn't really even tell you why. I just think his technical ability mixed with his love for mathematics and the way he combines them is super interesting to me, and I can see it in my work now as well. I think you can see a lot of the technical side of his work, how it's inspired the technical side of my work. So when I was asked to design some Marvel character graphics, I think the first one I was asked to do was Wolverine. Obviously, I mean, he's one of the most iconic X-Men characters, I'd say. So I was like, yes, this is going to be fun. So yeah, that's the original. I mean, the original. That's my very quick thought, having heard I was doing Wolverine. Yeah, I was like, so I want the ear, I want the skull, I want the glitch, I want the claws. Obviously, there's not much to that image, but it kind of gives me a sense of the elements I need to research and the reference I need to pull. I tend to just pull as much imagery as I can based on that character, and then I try and just mold it all into one thing and try and create my own version of that, and just sort of assimilate it into a reference image that I can work from, and then I add in all my glitch or just added elements. I just throw it on top, and then once you draw that in, that's when you create one of my drawings, basically. These are the original pieces. That was just a rough sort of working version of Doctor Doom. So this is the final piece. There were certain areas that needed a bit of extra, which I digitally enhanced. So I added some extra pieces around here and here and here, I believe. These two were done on Bristol board paper, whereas the Wolverine one, the first one I did on clayboard. And the difference between that is that clayboard is it's basically a thick board with a very thin layer of clay onto it. So you can ink onto the clay, and then you can scratch into the ink, which really helps when I'm doing all the glitch marks, so I can create extra depth. But with these ones, I just went straight onto paper, and I couldn't tell you why. Whenever Primitive asks me to do something, it's 100% yes. I think the added element of Marvel is obviously very interesting and exciting. It's a great opportunity to create my version of some of these iconic characters, and for them to be used on a skateboard graphic as well, it's kind of like killing two birds with one stone, you know. It's two awesome things meeting. So I think that's what makes it extra special, is that you've got the added fantasy element of Marvel, which has a huge catalogue of reference to pull from. That's exciting.